Hey, how's it going everyone? This is Fine Gaming Connoisseur. Welcome back to another video of Let's Play Mortal Online 2 Beta. Alright, so today we're running on version 0.1.1.4. Now this is another big patch, and there's a link in the description below that you can click on that will take you to the patch notes on Steam. Now, one thing that this patch has introduced is some service instability. And I did have some issues while I was playing on this version. So hopefully the next version, SV will, smooth things out and reduce instances of crashes and other issues. Okay, so now this is another game guide video, and in this video I want to talk about basic armaments for the new player. As this game is moving to a one character system, you no longer have 4 character slots, and so I think a lot of new players who are coming in, they're probably wondering, well, what can I how can I acquire basic weapons and armor that's not going to, that I can easily make, and, where I don't have to resort to trading with other players or buying it off the market broker. I think it's the auction house that's coming up in the next patch. And so I'm going to show you some basic armaments that I have, that I've managed to craft myself right here in Meduli. So here you can see I have the Tindremic guard armor set, and now what is really good about this armor set is that it is completely, you can make it completely out of soft materials. So this armor set is under soft armor crafting, and so you've got Tindremic guard armor right here. So this is a soft armor. So unlike the first game, which I don't know if if you've played the first game, you'll know that there is the very basic armor set was the heavy robe. Now, the heavy robe is really nothing more than just thick clothing. It's not really anything that's going to protect you much. Zephnir. Let's talk to Zephnir. I was about to say, what is he up to, and then he ran off. Okay. So as I was saying, the heavy robe was really nothing more than just, thick clothing. So it's really good that SV has gotten rid of that and, replaced it with something that actually is, actually protects, provides some level of protection, and also looks quite good. I mean, this is basically the same as what these Tindremic guards are wearing. So yeah, it is good. I actually like it, because this means that even if you don't intend on going to laminated armor or plate armor, you can actually make something completely out of soft materials such as full grain leather. And so yes, let me just show you. I'm going to try and make this video as short as possible. I'll try to cover as much as I can in the shortest amount of time. Okay, so this Tindremic guard armor is a soft armor, so you can actually make it right outside of town. You just go and hunt some pigs, which can be found milling about. So you can just kill one pig and butcher its carcass, and it will give you full grain leather. And and all you have to do is go to the crafting bench, and I'll also show you where you can get the armor book. So you can get the armor book from this guy here, Crafting Librarian. So you just get the soft armor book, train that first, which is the parent skill for this one, Tindremic Guard Armor, which is 2 gold and 50 silvers. And so, you know, another reason why I'm doing this video is because, you know, you do have limited skill points for crafting. So even for myself, I've had to drop a number of skills. I've dropped shield crafting, bowery, and I've also dropped not this one. Yeah, I've dropped butcher table. You know, the ability to use butchery tables effectively, the butcher workbench. You know, so you do have to make some sacrifices. You know, when you're playing this game, you know, you can no longer, you know, say, oh, okay, I'll create another character and I'll you know, use him as a butcher, or you know, whatever. You can no longer do that in this game. Right, and so once you have the armor, you know, the soft armor skill, and also the Tindremic Guard Armor, then you can just go to and you just craft using. So you put 4 grain leather in both of these boxes, and you know, click and drag whatever percentage of extra core material and padding that you want. So that's a very, very easy armor set that you can easily acquire. Now, I'll move on to weapons now. So the entrance is rather small. So if you're in Meduli, which is literally built on top of a Saburra mine, you know, this whole place is surrounded by Saburra. So, I'd imagine, you know, Meduli is going to be. Okay. I think it's wave, isn't it? All right. So I think Meduli is going to become a very important town in the future when the game goes into early access, because I think, you know, every guild, every player is going to want to come here at some point, because Saburra is an important ingredient in the production of steel and Alright, and so, you know, if you want to make steel, you need Saburra powder, which you get from grinding Saburra piles. And also, if you want to make one of the most basic weapons that I'll show you now. So I've decided to ditch blades, and instead I'm going with spears. And so spears will require the one-handed shaft and club crafting, and also the two-handed staff and shaft and staff crafting. Now, one thing that's different from Mortal Online 1 and 2 is that in Mortal Online 2, it appears that you can no longer craft one-handed spears. That's one thing I've noticed. I may be wrong on that, but so far on this version of the game, you can only craft two-handed spears. So, which is I don't know why SV decided to go down this route, but but they have, I think there are certain things that SV has eliminated from the game. One thing was one thing that SV has sort of eliminated is the ability to craft, for example, swords using just one type of material. Let's say if you decide to make a wooden sword, then you can, in Mortal Online 1 you could make a wooden sword just using wood for all 3 boxes. However, in Mortal Online 2, you have to put a soft material in the handle box, and so that's one thing that I've noticed. Now, what I'm doing is I'm mining Saburra. So, if you want to mine Saburra, you should get a straight handle with pickaxe, which you can buy from the utility vendor. And so I'll just mine a little bit. So my voice is not the best today. It's a little bit coarse. So do bear with me. Alright, so I'm not going to mine too much Saburra pile. I'll just mine maybe 2,000, because I just want to show you, how you can make a Cuprum spear. And Cuprum, from what I understand in the first game, was a very good material for making stabbing weapons. So things like daggers, stabbing swords and spears. So here at the utility vendor. Oh, okay. So they've changed it. I remember I used to buy, pickaxes from the utility vendor. Maybe they've changed it. Okay, so I think, yeah, it's been moved to the, it's been moved to the equipment vendor. So here you can get the pickaxe and torch and woodcutting axe, and also mount bags. Okay. So there's quite a number of different types that you can get. Large mount. Okay, so there's small mount bags and large mount bags, and these are bags for your character. So you can buy several capacious bags and then expand your bank that way. I do know that some players have been asking for ability to upgrade bank space. So I think this is SV's rather interesting solution to that. So you just buy capacious bags for every slot that you have in your bank, and you can have effectively a huge bank in just one bank in one town. Okay, so now that you've mined the Saburra piles, you go to it's actually nice to meet just to meet regular players that are playing this game. Knife. Oh, and there's 2 guys here. Alright, so you go to the crusher. Pay attention that you don't go to the wrong extraction appliance. If you go to the grinder, you'll get a lot more Saburra powder, but not so much Malachite. I think that's what I remember from the first game. So if you want to get more Malachite, which is the ingredient that you'll need, you go to the crusher and put the Saburra pile in this box here, the resource, and leave the catalyst box empty, and then you extract. And I think, as in the first game, you do need to stay still. So stay still while this is happening. And just an update. I have seen on Twitter, Henrik Nystrom, the CEO of Starbolt, has said that they are planning, or at least they're hoping, to release Mortal Online 2 onto early access in the third quarter of 2021. So that is more or less just around the corner. You know, in July it will be third quarter, the beginning of third quarter. So very exciting. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Okay, so just wait for that. Okay, so if you, yeah, you know, it says that there's a spelling error there. Receive should be RECEIVE, not RECIVE. But it's just something I noticed. Okay, so what you want is this, malachite here. Now, the Saburra powder, like I mentioned earlier, this is a important ingredient in the production of steel. So that's why I said that, you know, every player, doesn't matter which guild or whether you're ungilded, every player is going to want to come to Meduli at some point. So I'd imagine that when the game goes into early access, when persistent beta begins, I think that's what it is. Persistent beta and early access, they're both the same thing, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So then let me just I'm trying to keep my bank space just. Let me just sell this. Okay. So I'm just doing this right now because, you know, this is just a beta. You know, when the persistent beta begins, you know, everything will be wiped. So, all right. So now what you want is, okay. So what you need now is this thing called boar, and you can find boar in. Now, some have said that you can find boar to the north of the outskirts of Meduli, but I've yet to find any to the north. So the only place that I've been able to find boar is to the south of the outskirts. Okay, and now that we have, make sure that guy's not watching me. Alright. I'm not carrying anything important. Okay, so the only place that I've been able to find boar is this, you know, empty area, this sandy area over here. So in the first game, the boar chunks, they were sort of whitish, and, you know, whitish round thing that you pick up from the ground. But in this game, they've changed it to a light green and grey-ish, small, you know, small thing that you pick up from the ground. A small chunk of, yeah, it's rather hard to see, but it looks like this. So you pick this up, you pick up as many as you can. Okay, that's and you've got sea dew here as well. And one thing I've discovered is that sea dew is actually, you know, horses will actually eat the sea dew. So, you know, if you're struggling to find horse food, just come here and pick up, you know, the sea dew, and you better feed your horse with it. Okay, so I managed to find it. Yeah, there's not that many, not that much boar chunks to be found, actually. Unlike the first game, when, you know, they were basically just everywhere. You know, you walk around in the outskirts of Meduli back in Modern Online 1, and you could find a lot of it. But in Modern Online 2, they seem to be a little bit scarce. So you know, I'm guessing SV want people to fight over it. Maybe, I don't know. So you bring the boar chunks back, and then I'll show you how to make Cuprum. Now, admittedly, I had to refer back to the video that I made on how to make Cuprum in Meduli for Modern Online 1. So that video is is very old now, but I still, I did refer back to it, referring back to my own videos, and so now I did watch that video, and I did study the things that I mentioned in that video, and it does appear from what I've done, what I've been able to do so far, it does appear that the ratios and the basic formula for making Cuprum is still the same as in the first game. So keep this in mind. It does not appear that the formulas have changed. And while I'm talking about formulas, I just want to give a shout out. Just remember, the people that when Mortal Online 1 was released back in 2010. The people that actually discovered how to make all the different metals and all the different kinds of materials. I don't know how they did it, because back then the game was just atrociously hard. There was no new player help system around at all. It was just very bare bones. But man, those pioneers, the people who first who played this game at the very beginning, they somehow managed to figure out all the formulas and basically gave it all to us. So so if you're playing this game, and you're not one of the pioneers, then you are a beneficiary of their hard work. So I just want to give a shout out to them. I certainly don't have the time to sit down and work out all the formulas. So it's really credits go to credit where credit is due. And so if you watch my video on Mortal Online 1 on making Cuprum, you'll know that the basic formula ratio works like this. It works on iterations of 125 malachite and 9 boar. So if you want to make just the minimum amount of Cuprum, then you take 125 malachite and 9 units of boar. And if you want to make more, then you just take another 125 and 9 units of boar, and so you work from that. So you just keep adding, increments of 125. So you put that in the resource box and put the boar in the catalyst. And now do bear in mind that you need to use the correct appliance. Do not use the let me just do this first. Make sure you use the furnace. Okay, it's still going. Alright, so you get 89 Cuprum with 250 malachite and 18 boar. Okay, so just bear in mind, do not use the refining oven because it will not work. The refining oven is for something else. It's don't use that. Don't use this refining oven, but instead make sure you use the furnace or the blast furnace if you're in Galcore. Okay, and so now we're going to make our spear, and again I'll show you where you can get so go to the crafting librarian and let me see where spears. Where is spears? Okay, there you go. Crafting spearheads. And so you also need two-handed shaft handle. So you need to buy these two. Also, you'll need to. I think you can train Cuprum just by, just through use. So once you start smelting malachite and boar together, you'll get Cuprum. the Cuprum lore, but if for some reason you want to read it, as in train it up passively by reading a book, then you can get the Cuprum lore here, which will save you. I think when early access arrives, it'll save you a lot of time and materials, rather than you going to mine all the so much Saburra just to train up your skill. You can just read a book. Okay, and so now you have spears, and so you can choose the handle that you want. And so one thing that like I mentioned before, you can't put you can't put hard materials, it seems. You can only use soft materials for the grip material. Let me see whether I can you... Okay, so you can use metal as well. So you have to use a hard material for the core and a soft material for the grip. That's one thing that has changed in Mortal Online 2. In the first game, you could make, you could put hard materials in the grip material. So that's something that's different. Okay, so now you put the Cuprum. Okay, so simple handle. So people the simple handle and the war spear. All right, so okay, let's see how that looks. Common quality. Okay, so if you look at the piercing stats, it's 29.10, which I think is rather good. I mean, if you look at the stats for your basic, for the starter sword, it's quite, it's quite a big difference. So this is the white wood simple long handle with a Cuprum war spear of common quality. And all right, so I'll show you how that looks. Okay. And if you're using spears, if you plan on using spears, then one thing you can do, you go to gameplay in the settings and you enable invert thrust attack. So basically what this means is that if you enable this, then you do not need to worry about directional, worrying about, making sure you point the directional arrow down. It'll always be down, so that you'll always be performing a thrust. Right, so which will make it a lot easier, especially in the middle of combat. You don't want to be spending unnecessary split seconds trying to make sure that you're pointing your, your arrow, your directional arrow down. Okay, so just before I go, I will let me just put all this down. Okay, and so like I mentioned, you do need to work out what you want and make sacrifices, because, as I mentioned, and as you probably know, you cannot have everything in this game, no longer. It's not like the first game where you can have 4 characters and, basically be self-sufficient, never needing to trade with other players. You can just have 1 main and 3 other crafting characters. That is no longer possible in this game. And now, let me just go to a okay, let me just go to a tree, cut down some wood. So if you want some wood for your for your handle, then you equip a woodcutting axe and okay, and so you just can cut down some trees by doing this. Alright, so just to show those of you who are not sure where you can get the wood. Now do bear in mind that you will need skills for woodcutting as well. So just let me get to safety, and so again you will need to have material law. I would recommend that you get botany, because this is dendrology, which is the knowledge of wooded plants such as trees, shrubs, and some, is it lianes? I think it is. I think it's lianes, lianas. Is it? So this skill will increase the yield and also crafting quality. So you'll need this skill, because this influences the quality of your weapon and also the amount that you can harvest. And one thing that's you no longer need to worry about having to spend primary points in whereas gathering. I think gathering is here somewhere. Oh wait, that's in action skills. So gathering is now a secondary. It's no longer you don't no longer have a gathering secondary and a woodcutting primary. It's all secondary now. So I think that's good. I think it's a good change. And now one thing I have heard. Now this is I can't confirm whether this is true or not, but I read somewhere. Now again, I'm not sure whether this is from SV, from Henrik or Sebastian, or from Harius, or whether this is something that some players have said. But the basic thing is that if you can level your crafting, let me just bring up this as an example. If you can get your crafting skill to 70, then that will enable you to craft maximum quality gear. So that means you do not need to level it up to 100. You just need to get it to 70, and that will enable you to craft maximum quality gear. Now anything beyond that, it will improve the gear slightly, and I think at 100, I think it gives you legendary crafted gear, I think. So now again, this is just from what I've read somewhere. I can't remember whether this is from Sebastian or Henrik or Harius, or from anyone from that, at SV, or whether this is just from something that players have said. But this is something that I have read somewhere. I can't remember. I think it might have been on Discord or Twitter or something, or on the forum somewhere. So I can't confirm whether this is true, but but if it is, then that means you can you will be able to have more, craft more things. You can have more crafting skills than what you would normally have if you had to level it up to 100. And so potentially you could have an extra 1 or 2 crafting professions in your character under your belt. So that way it gives you more options. Gives you more crafting options. Okay, so I think this is so I think I've shown you. Wait, let me equip my spear. Alright, so I think I've shown you. Okay, this looks pretty badass. Pretty badass spear. So I've shown you pretty much just the basic armaments that you as a new player can craft right here in Meduli without trading with other players or having to go to the market broker or the auction house or whatever it's going to be called. So you can craft a fairly decent spear and a fairly decent set of armor, and they all look pretty cool. No more, heavy robe, which is basically just a piece of thick clothing. It's now, you get something cool that looks cool, and also it offers decent protection. Okay, so hope that this has been helpful for you, and I'm predicting that things will remain the same. All the crafting formula side of things will remain the same when the game hits early access. So unless something changes, I think this will be valid for when early access and beyond, when it goes into persistent release. Okay, and I do have a link in the description below that will take you to my old Mortal Online 1 video for making Cuprum in Meduli. So if you want to watch that, you can find the link in the description below. So thank you for watching today, and I hope that you found this video useful, and hope that you enjoyed it as much as I had fun making it. And as always, if you could please like, comment, subscribe, and share. So I look forward to seeing you next time. But for now, thank you for watching. This is Fine Gaming Connoisseur. Take care and have a good day.